A good Vokra Boisai. Welcome. Roses Mountain, Tattersville, Hunter, Shkoyach for having me. That was a beautiful Shabbos. Unfortunately, didn't see any beers. I was actually hoping and wishing. You guys see?
Yeah.
I was not so scared of the beers. It's a beautiful Shabbos. Shkoyach. So we'll start off with this guy. Everybody says he looks just like me. His name is Yosef Erman, home a brother from another mother. Here he is in the Alps.
Good.
Oh yeah, and it's working. Okay, good morning, Boisai. And this is our base measures in Ramat Shemesh, and there's a picture of the guys learning, doing the daf live, or actually broadcast a little later. But there's a pretty nice oilam, so I'm very proud of them because some of them complain and they fall out of the daf because I'm not there. They're used to being there live. So Yishkar for being there is another picture of them there. And that being said, we're just going to go straight into the sponsors. The Koilel is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Refuah, my mother-in-law, Shlamis Esther Bas Bela. The Masel is sponsored by Moshe Banda. Thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. The Paradise HaChodesh, Nishma Zechariah Bas Yosef, and Paras HaChodesh, Nishma Zechariah Ben Moshe, the Art of the Month, for complete refuah, for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leah. Rabbi say, here we go. So in the middle of a beautiful Agata, who are all these people? You're all just guests? Some in Bachrim? Beautiful. With over 30 people there on a Motzei Shabbos, it's unbelievable. 11:15 at night. You know that you're not going to leave here before midnight, so it's a beautiful thing. Yishkoyach for coming. Some people actually travel from Muncie, so they're not going to get home until 2 in the morning. Mark, Dave Sharfman again, behind the scenes. Yishkoyach, who else? We have Rabbi Cohen here. Every Motzei Shabbos, Shapsi Cohen drives in from Beitar, and over here we have his brother who flew in from America just for this, from England, Yishkoyach. Every Motzei Shabbos, we go through the Musagim, the new Musagim that we learned that week. We just started this like a month ago or so, and so some of the Musagim are very familiar to people, but we're going to go through it. We have some Yeshiva Bachran that probably have no idea what this one, the first one is Mushal Kabal Toma. What does that mean? Even though it's a very simple one. But it's not above a cow. Moshe L'Kavod Tumah, maybe it is. Moshe L'Kavod Tumah is the idea that fruit cannot become tamei if a sheretz or a person touches it unless it was touched by one of the 7 liquids after it was detached from the tree. That's Moshe L'Kavod Tumah. The next one is Shliach L'Elacha, Shliach L'Kabbalah. We spoke about a lot that only the woman can make a shliach l'kabbalah. She cannot make a shliach l'ilacha, and a husband can only make a shliach l'ilacha and not a shliach l'kabbalah. Hoylech kischi is the shayla, is the question: when a person makes a shliach and he says hoylech, does he actually mean you should be zoich in this? It's unbelievable. There's more people tonight than on Friday in Eretz Yisrael. On Shabbos and the late Motzei Shabbos is very shvach. It's usually only guests. The whole base measure is full of guests and no locals. They go to sleep. Well, very beautiful. Okay, I guess everybody's guest today. The famous halacha that if a person himself admits to something, it has halacha of 2 edim, which is 100 edim. Migoy, we don't have to explain, right? But I once didn't explain something. I got a whole thing over my head. You have to explain everything. Okay, Migoy is the idea that a person could say, if I was a liar, I could have lied a different lie. So we have to trust him and believe him. Mavoi, a mavoi is in the time of Chazal, all the houses used to dump into courtyards, into the front yard, and there was an alleyway. So that alleyway, which is attached to Rabim, Chachamim made a takana that you shouldn't carry there unless you do something called a shitufim avois, which is an eruv. Everybody's mishtatif in a barrel of wine usually, or some other food, and then they all become partners in that alleyway, and then they're allowed to carry there. A lot of times Chacham make takanas, but it's always with the same idea and halacha of the Dairais unless it's a newly invented takana. So if Chacham said that you take meiser bisman hazeh, or they said you should take meiser off of vegetables, and the Torah only says you should take meiser on wheat, olives, and wine. So they said that they made their takana the same exact way. The same way you take meiser, the same people, the same halachas, that's how you do it also for their meiser as well. Mion is a concept that if a father marries, actually, a father can marry off a katana. But if she doesn't have a father, so her brother or mother can marry her off if she agrees to it. And she can always get out of that marriage by just being memayan, by saying, I don't want to be married. That's it. And she's out of the marriage. Erev Tchumim is something that's mamish nageh here in Tannersville. And some people hold that this place, which is not really halachically, we found it's not. Some people say that this is out of the Tchum, so you have to make it Erev Tchumim. One of the ways is that you create a shvisa in the shul. That's the way to do it here. But otherwise, you would shalom, shalom. Wow. So the way to do it is you put a meal away from your house, and that becomes your house. That becomes your makam, and then you can go from that meal, that piece of challah, 2,000 amas in each direction. There's more. Mili mimsir and l'shteh. I'm just flying through this real quickly. Whether or not you have the ability to give, when you appoint an agent to do something, you just tell him words. Could that agent, could that shliach take those words and give it over to somebody else? All right, so we're holding in the middle of a story where Rav Sheshas, he was a guest by the Reish Galusa, and he complained about the hechsher over there. He said, the avodim over there are bad guys. They're going to feed us some Eber Menachai. Let me just turn this on. So start. Okay. Keep me a little bit in check, hopefully. And we're holding Daf Samach Ches Amud Aleph. So they try to get back at him. They try to plant a bone in his food. That didn't work. As a kid, Chas v'shalom, I didn't see this stuff in a long time. One of my favorite pranks of all time was this guy. He tried to get at his father. His father used to mow the lawn a lot. So he took a tractor. He dug a giant hole in the ground. He filled it with water. And then he just put a bunch of leaves on top. And he sat there with a video camera. And he waited until his father drove the lawnmower. And he fell into the thing. And everybody had a great laugh. They took this from the Gemara right here. It's a Maisa Shahaya in the Gemara. It says like this. Where are we holding? Like 5-6 lines from the top. Maybe even more. Oh, he did a nice... 7 lines down. Kiko Nafik. You got it? 2, 4, 6, 8 lines down. Kiko Nafik. Korle Beiro. B'shodle Tzipsa Ilove. They dug a hole and they put a mat on it. V'armile Leisi Mar Lenach. No, don't you want to take a little nap? Nochar Rav Chizda Ma'achor. Rav Chizda. So Rav Sheshas was blind. He chapped right away what's going on. Omerle Linuka Psoikli Psukach. It's interesting. Like, okay, so just take the hint. No, he saw a kid there and he said, "No, what do you say? What kind of pasuk are you learning today?" Omerle Neteilecha Yimincha Oyasmoilcha. You should go either right or left. Omerle Shame Michael Chazis. Omerle, it's a piece of the shadia. I see that they put down some mat over there. Omerle Hodarmina. Go around it. What's the nafik? Omerle Chizda Menoav Yodamar. How did you know not to go on it? Now the Maharsha asks the obvious question. What do you? How did you know? You Rav Chizda went. So why are you asking him? How did you? Okay. So the Maharsha has a certain cheshbon. How come Rav Sheshes didn't ask Rav Chizda? Fine. Omerle Chada the Nochli Mar. First of all, you made a funny sound. And in addition, I asked the child what kind of pasuk he's learning. He told me go right, left. Because look, we're dealing here with people that are not oisgaltan people. They try to feed us every menachai. And now I'm not going to trust anybody. So I went around. The art scroll over here brings an interesting Rambam. It says that it's also, according to the Rambam, to rely on a pasuk of a child. If you ask, so then you'd ask, what about Lubavitch? They go to the Rebbe and they open up. So there's a whole nidon here, and they say no. If you yourself open up a chumash, you do the Garla Gra, you open up whatever it is, that is okay. But to rely, the Rambam is talking about to rely on a child who's placing a pasuk is a problem. Okay. Rabbi, so we're going into a very, very interesting story, a famous story of Shlomo HaMelech and Ashmedai. And the Maral says it over and over here in the Sugi. He says, whoever learns this, you shouldn't learn it kipshutai. There's a lot of deep. And every time we learn Agadata, it's the same story. Whether it's Maral, the Meyoda, all the Agadata, there's a simple story, a simple meaning. And there's a lot of very deep understanding behind it, like what's the name of that book, The Juggler and the King, something like that. There's a whole pirush of the Goin on a certain Agadata. But at the end of the day, there's certain ideas that we can take out of the story, whether we understand it completely or not. A lot of Yisoidas. Each one can take their own Yisoid. It says in the Koheles, Asisi li sharim v'sharois. What just happened? Okay. Shlomo HaMelech says, I made for myself sharim v'sharois. So you think it's talking about maybe male and female. What's that? Yeah, that needs to go off. No? Asisili sharim v'sharois. So it's not referring to help that is male, female, v'sanugois, and things to indulge in. B'nei Adam, shida v'shidos. What does that mean? Sharim v'sharois elu minei zemer. So you think about it, one of the beautiful things that Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave us is the ability to sing. That's why we don't sing now in the 9 days. To sing, to have different piano, guitar, beautiful stuff. What are these beautiful types that we have? Elu brechois u'mechatzois, a gishmak shvitz. Guys, everything that you say is recorded, and you're going to be famous for the wrong reason. Elu brechois u'mechatzois, shida v'shidois, hachatirgim v'shida v'shidtin. Marava Amri Shita. Shita is, we're going to see in a second, Shida v'Shittin. But Marava, they say it's not Shadim, it's referring to vehicles like a car. In those days they had the horse and wagon. Zog the Gemara, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Shalish Meis Minei Shadim Hayu b'Shichin, and Shichin, there's 300 different types of Shadim. So Rashi says it either means I don't understand any of them, or I don't know what the king looks like. Okay, the head of the Shadim. Omar Mar. Shida v'shittin l'mayi barle. So Shida, we're referring to a shed, a male and a female shade. We're going to see exactly. We're going to understand the shade a little bit better than we understood it before. But why did Hakadosh Baruch Hu create shade? Everything in this world has a tzorech. The Rabbi said the spider has a tzorech, the mosquito has a tzorech. Rabbi Zilkudin explained even a kruma cup has a tzorech. Why do people think crookedly? For shiduchim and to be melamed zchus on your friend. Your friend does something silly, you need a kruma cup to think like that. Everything. So why shida m'sheides? Zok the Gemara, the chsiv of Abayis, v'benoisei even shlema masa nivna. We're in the 9 days. Mamash just a few days before Tisha B'av, talking about the Beis Hamikdash. How did Shlomo HaMelech build the Beis Hamikdash? How am I going to get these stones there? In other words, there have to be a certain measurement, especially the Mizbeach, but all the stones. Someone was telling me even the Kaisel stones might have been built like this. Okay, but how am I going to cut them so beautifully? And I'm not allowed to use metal on the Mizbeach, but also in the Beis Hamikdash. The shamir. Shamir is an aquatic creature. It's very, very small, some sort of worm-looking thing. And it has the ability to cut anything hard, anything. And that's what Moshe used for the ephod. Let me see if we have it here. This is still on. And this, Rabbi says, where we're holding by the ephod. The Choshen, the stones that we know, the Benesina had stones. How do they write? You see over here, they have the names of the Shvatim. How do they do it? They did it with the shomer because they have halachic problems to do it with metal, etc. So you can't do it with ink. So they wrote on it, and then the shomer just followed it and cut it out. Okay. So there's something called a shomer. Now, why is it that human beings don't have the shomer? Shlomo Amel didn't know where it is. Why not? Because it's similar, the Achronim explain, it's similar to an atom bomb. To Shlomo Klein, Rabbi says Shlomo Klein. He just came for him, not for the Gemara, was Kedai. Rabbi says there's more Lubavitchers than regular people here. I mean, the Lubavitchers are regular people. He even has what? Regular people. I just call them non-regular. Okay. Then Litvaks, I meant. Okay, Hasidim. Givaldik. Imam Shvil at home. Where was I? Who? Oh, the atom bomb. So the shomer could cause tremendous amount of destruction, could cut mountains and buildings, and if human beings got their hands on it, it would be similar to today. Like, Russia has nuclear weapons, and this one uses dynamite, and this one, look what human beings did with dynamite. How many hundreds of millions of deaths because of it. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want human beings to have it. Where can I find this shomer? I need it for the Beis Hamikdash. You know what? We'll figure it out with a shed and a sheda. We're asking, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu create a shed? Here, to build the Beis Hamikdash. Kavshinu hadadi. He took them, says Rashi, pressed them like you press an olive. He just somehow, and for some reason, I don't understand exactly why you need a male and a female. You could have just taken, let's say, a male, and kvetched him so good until he screams Chai v'Kayim and he tells you the secret. But no, we needed a male and female. You should kvetch them and they'll tell you. I see Shida v'Shida, so they chopped two off the street. Kavshina adadi, and I don't know if they put them together or separately, but it seems like almost together, but they pressed them in a press. Chinese torture. Army. Anan Yedinon, so they gave it up. They said, we don't know. Dilma, Ashmele Malka the Shady Yoda. Maybe the king of Shadim will tell you the secret. Or you say, no, but okay, one more secret, a little bit more of a kvetch. Where can we find him? Armile, Isibitur plan, he's in that mountain over there. Kairele Beiro, he digs a hole. Umalyele Mayo, and he puts in water. We said already. And over here you see again, we see a lot more about these Shadim. You see that they eat and drink like human beings. Some want to say that it's just a muscle, but okay. Kasi betinara, and he covers his well with a stone. Bechasme begushpanke. He puts a seal on it to see if anybody tampers with it. This I found fascinating. That a shed, he's not a ben olam haba. He's not doing this to get Gan Eden, but he loves to learn Torah. He goes up to Shemayim and he learns Torah. It's very interesting. We go with the Mesifta the arrow. He comes back down and he finishes up over here learning. And then he goes and he checks out his seal, and then he uncovers his shas and he drinks. And then he covers it and he seals it and he goes. Rabbi said again, you can just read it. I'm sure there's a lot deeper meaning to this, and then he sealed it and the whole thing. He said Benayahu ben Yoyada. Who's Benayahu ben Yoyada? Rabbi said. Remember in Brachos we learned there's no greater human being than Benayahu ben Yoyada. Not a Migdash Rishon, not a Migdash Sheni. He's also the strongest, and also in Torah he's the greatest. Huge Talmud Chacham, a huge Gibar. He gave him a chain that had Hashem's name on it, so you can't break it. And a ring that has Hashem's name to give him protection. And balls of wool, and basically gave him a lot of wine. So what do you do? If you're and you want to fill up, you want to change the water that Ashmedai drinks and change it into wine and get him drunk and bring him back to Yerushalayim. What do? But he has a seal. So the only way to do it really is to empty out the pit without touching the seal. And that's by creating another pit next to it that's lower. And you make a hole and it just drains out. And then you have to fill up his pit with wine without tampering the seal. And that's by creating a pit above it. And the wine just goes right into the pit. So that's what he did. So he got the water out, but he had to seal the hole. He didn't want the water to mix with the wine, so he had to seal that with the wool. And then he made another well on top of it, and he filled it up with wine. And when he was done, so the wine filled in, and then he just filled up the two pits that he created so that Ashmedai shouldn't notice. And he went into a tree. He also, when Ashmedai came, he took a look at the seal, Galye, and he opened it up. He sees wine. No, it's not a good idea to drink from it. You don't become very smart from drinking wine. All the bad things happen, znuz, and then everything else. I'm sorry, znus and yain will take away the heart. I don't want to lose my heart. I don't want to be influenced by the wine. Now it happens to be the Taisus says on the side over here, the last Taisus. Sometimes it's not the first time I've seen this in Taisus. The pasuk that we're bringing here, it wasn't created yet. It's in Hosea. He's saying it was a known memra. Later on, it made into the Navi. Okay. Says Gemara lo yishti. He refused to drink it. Kitzachi, but he's very thirsty. He couldn't stand it. Ishtei. So he didn't drink it. Ravo gana. Again, why would he drink it? Doesn't he understand it might be a trap? So the Maharsha says, well, he thought it was an ace. He thought it was an ace. He thought I just don't want to drink wine. It's an ace. Hashem changed my water into a wine. It's not a good idea to drink the wine, but I'm thirsty, I'll drink it. He didn't realize it's a trap. Fine. Similar to us. A lot of times, things are obvious. It sort of says, do this and this and that. Don't you think it's a trap? Nah, it's going to be good for you. And then you do it, and then you have charat a minute later. He wakes up. And he put the chain on him. Bnayo put the chain on him with the Shem Hashem. Satman, he closed it on his neck. Shalom Yisrael. Hitar, Ashmedai wakes up with a hangover. Havagam Farzel. He started going crazy. He's on a chain. Omar tells him, Shmod Marach Halach. Your master's name is on the chain. Be careful, you can't break it. Shmod Marach Halach. So he schlepped him with a chain like a dog. You take a dog, he takes Ashmedai, the king of the Shadim. Mata Dikla. So he sees a very tall palm tree. Chafbei, he rubbed himself on the palm tree shadi and he knocked it down. That's what a shed does. We're very worried of Shadim because Shadim, they're destructive creatures. They like to break things. He breaks down a palm tree. Mata Lebeisa, he sees a big house. Shadi knocks it down. Mata Gabikuvidahi Malta. Comes a little hut of an almana. Nafka, she came out, and she begged him not to break it. So he bent down, he twisted away from it. Idbar be garma, he broke a bone. Again, we see here that perhaps Shadim have bones, if we're going to understand it. Kipshutai, Omar, on the one hand, we see that Shadim, they could get into small areas, in a little hole. People say, if you have a window, you shouldn't close it up. You should leave a little hole for the shadim to come out. So they could fit through, but they have bones. It breaks. Okay, we have to understand. The Lashon Raka, Ashmedai is quoting Psukim. The soft language of this almana, Tishbor Garem, she broke my bone. Says the Gemara, Chazi Samya, he saw a blind man, the Habakatoy Baruch. He got lost, he went off the path. Aski Lurches, Ashman picked him up, lifted him, put him back on the path. The Gemara is going to explain every one of these stories. Why did he do it? Chazer Ravi, he saw a drunkard, the Habakatoy Baruch, he was lost. Aski Lurches, he lifted him up, put him back on the way. Chazer Chedvasa, the Habakum Madchilo. He saw chasana and everybody was dancing and it was so geschmack, it was unbelievable. Bacha, he started crying. He heard a guy telling the shoemaker, make me shoes that are going to last 7 years. He started laughing. He saw a sorcerer making magic. He laughed. When he got to Shlomo HaMelech, they made him wait 3 days. How come Shlomo is not coming out to me? He was getting all upset. Shlomo HaMelech is drunk. He can't come to you. He took one stone and put it on another stone. I saw a whole shot there again going into this. One stone on another stone is the first Beis HaMikdash, and another Beis HaMikdash is Nechrab, all thing. Also, the Shlomo, and they told Shlomo HaMelech what he did. I'll tell you what he meant by that. Give him more to drink. How come he didn't come yet? Shlomo HaMelech to me. He ate too much. He took the stone, he put it on top, and he put it on the ground. Also, Shlomo, this is what happened. Take away the food. He came to him after 3 days. So Ashmanai took a reed which measured 4 amas, and he threw it to Shlomo HaMelech. When you, Shlomo HaMelech, die, it's a very, very powerful zog. So what do you have in your life? You have nothing in your life. You're not going to bring anything to Olam Emes. All you have is 4 amas. It's very interesting. I said this once before, but if there's some new people here tonight, maybe. The minhag was when you bought land, you could understand it here, like in Tannersville. A lot of people have 20 acres, 30 acres, whatever it is. So you purchase land from somebody. The idea was you could walk a whole day until you got somewhere. Whatever you walked, that was yours. And they say that's what happened with Petach Tikva. The Yid met the Arab, he made a deal with him, and he walked, and he wouldn't drink, he wouldn't stop, because he knew as much as he walks, that's going to be Yiddish land. So there's a guy, man, like that. Made a deal with the guy, okay. So he started walking, and they said, you want to drink? No drink, no food. He walked. Then he made a left turn. He walked, and it's getting dark. He started running, and he's like, he finally got back to the starting point, bought this whole thing. He collapsed and died. What was he kinda? From the whole story of that, a grave. That's all he got. And the mashal is us. We run and we do, and we make this deal and that deal and business back and forth. And what? Like this, to chaparayin as much as we can in Torah. Not stop to buy up more and more property for what? Just to have a grave. Okay. Arba Garmidi. That's it. That's all you have in this world. He's giving Moshe to Shlomo HaMelech. The whole world is under your authority. Everybody gives you covet, everything. You have the whole world. And you're not even satiated. What, you need me also? What do you need me for? You have the whole world. You need me? I don't need you. No, isn't this unbelievable? Just a few days before Tisha B'Av, I need to build the Beis HaMikdash. Become a Boyle Shemira, and I need the Shomer. What do you want from me? I don't have it. He gave it to the Sar, the one in charge of the ocean. So, by the way, this is what they say is a Tarnagoyla Diyama. It's a duchifas, as we're going to see in a second. Oh, what is it called? Hupu. They have this beautiful, beautiful bird in Eretz Yisrael. I saw it many times when I was a kid in Bnei Brak. I didn't see it in Yerushalayim. It's a beautiful bird. And I thought this is a great picture because it looks like he's holding the shomer in his mouth. Okay, fine. In another place, Rashi says that it's a peacock, but it doesn't fit in over here. It's more of a hupu. Okay. He took an oath, he took a shvua that he's not going to give this to human beings, the shomer. What does this bird do with it? You think it's a pretty bird, doesn't do anything. No, he's very busy. If he goes to a mountain that doesn't have inhabitants, Ashina the Turi takes this shomer to the top of the mountain, to the peak of the mountain. Upakatura, and the shomer splits open the mountain. Umanki Maisi Bizrone, and the bird goes and takes seeds, Milane from the trees, Vishade Hasem, and he puts it into the hole. And then you have vegetation, everything's givaldic. And that's why Targum Onkelos says, when it says in the Torah, Duchifas, which is a tummy bird, Nagar Turo. It's the carpenter of the mountains. So they said, okay, we have to go to this bird and find the shomer. This leibane, we need to find one that has little chicks. And they found one, and they covered the nest with clear glass. The mother bird comes, knocks, sees glass, can't get in, realizes it's something hard. So she went, I have an idea. I'll get the shomer, crack open the glass, and she put the shomer on top of the glass. Scream. Shadye, she dropped the shomer. Shakle, Nayo took the shomer, Ozal, and then the bird went. Chonek nafshei ashvuase. And I asked Yoshi to make me a picture for this. So he did this. This is a duchifas with the babies, but it choked itself. This is a peacock. Here's a suicidal, and there's another one. Okay, this is through AI. A lot of work. It's not pashut to get what you want with it. Okay, Omar Levin Yo. My time at Chazite. Maybe I should get off this picture. Doesn't have to sit and look at it. Maybe this one. Okay. Now we're going to go back to all the stories that happened before, whether we could learn life lessons from them. When we saw the blind person, Ashmedai, you're the shed. Shed is not a nice guy. A shed is a destructive kind of creature. Why are we so nice to the blind man? So we're going to see Shadim. They hear all what's going on in Shemayim. They know the future. They're not human beings. They're more like malachim. They said about this blind guy that he's a tzaddik. By the way, in Eretz Yisrael, Emmanuel, the famous Emmanuel. No Arabs don't live there. They believe that Emmanuel is where Ashmedai, the king of the Shadim, lives, and they're very scared of Shadim. So they have a village. That's in Arabic. It's called you could see shed from there, and that's like the closest village to Emmanuel. They believe from there you could push it, see the shade. They have a big pach of the shade. Okay.
What's the name of the
village? Jin Safud, I think. Jin Safud. Jin Shed Safud. You could see something like that. Says the Gemara. My time. Why did you put him back on? They say in Shemayim he's a tremendous tzaddik. And whoever makes his life easier. So over you do see it's like a shed is you want to be I don't know exactly. But I wanted to do good for him because it's in my interest. Now, I'm not trying to be nice to that guy. I want to be nice to myself by helping him. If so, my time when you saw the drunkard, that doesn't make sense. The drunkard is not a nice guy. He wasn't a good guy. He was a drunkard. So why did you help him? You're not going to get oil mahaba from that. You're right. You have a good eye. He stuck a big Russia. But I did good for him. We know. What's the reason? Or we don't know the reason. But one of the things we always say, and the Gemara says, that a Russia always gets paid in this world, so he doesn't have any schusim on oil emes. So I wanted to pay him. I wanted to do good for him now, so he shouldn't be zoichet oil emes. So that was actually an act of destruction. Why did you cry when you saw that chasana? And this Rabbi is one of the saddest of the sad. I was again. You see all these unbelievable things. You had a place, this tremendous simcha, and people are jealous. Look at this chassan, and they got such unbelievable kala, and the kala got unbelievable chassan, and then the guy that's single for 20 years, he's looking. You don't know the emes. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know anything. Omalei, boy, meimos gavra begoyit losin yomin. I know that the chassan is going to die within 30 days. If that's not bad enough, Rabbi Isai, unfortunately, the kala cannot get married for 13 years. Not only did she lose her husband, the worst of the worst, within 30 days, but her brother-in-law was just born that day, and the brother-in-law can't do chalitza, yibum, anything until he's 13 years old. So now she has to wait for 13 years. When you heard the guy asking for shoes that could last 7 years, and this Rabbi Isai is a tremendous musaska for us. We're busy, and we don't even know if we're going to be here in 7 days. He's busy. Mamish was laughing. The guy's crazy. He's asking for shoes that last 7 years, and I don't even know if he's going to last for 7 days. Again, Musa Haskell taken. Why were you laughing and smiling when you saw the guy making magic? This one I think is very obvious. Nobody speaks about it, but it comes right out, to me at least. He's sitting on the treasure of the king. Right below him, he doesn't chop. He's a big magic guy. He's trying to impress everybody else. And the shaita doesn't have that he's sitting on a treasure right below him. If he just uses his magic for himself, guy would be a billionaire. This you don't have to be a big chacham, I don't think, to understand a different pshat. We are all sitting on the oitzer of oitzeres. We're all sitting on the Torah Agdosha. And what do? We do shtus, and we try to impress other people. I'm a makobel, I do moifsim for this. Just open up a Gemara and learn Torah. It's right here. It's right underneath you. Tarchi Gabe says the Gemara, Shlomo held him back. Tarchi is a lotion of to hold back. Ad Banyi Lebeis Hamikdash. However long it took, I'm not sure. Anybody remember how long it took to build a Beis Hamikdash? At least a year, 3 years, I don't remember. Yom Echad have a koil chudei. One day Shlomo HaMelech was with him by himself. Omar lei. Ksiv Kisoyaf Esreim Loy. Shlomo HaMelech asks Ashmedai. They're one-on-one. It says in the pasuk Kisoyaf Esreim Loy by Billyack. V'amrina Kisoyaf Esreim Malach Hasharis. Re'eim Elu Hashedim. That Rashi says we use. He doesn't say the first part, but he says the second part. The Shedim are for Puranos. When Klai Yisrael went out of Mitzrayim, the Malachim took Klai Yisrael out of Mitzrayim, and the Shedim were the ones that were left behind to destroy Mitzrayim. We use them for destruction. But how come human beings are not mentioned in the pasuk? Why are you guys, you Shedim, better than us? You want to hear Pshat in the pasuk? Take off this chain that's on me for who knows how long, and give me your ring that has the Shem Hashem, and I'll show you. So Shlomo HaMelech took off the chain. And he gave him the ring. Bale, he swallowed Shlomo HaMelech, or he swallowed the ring. Probably, I think it's better for the story for us. He swallowed Shlomo HaMelech. He put one wing. Now he grew his wings suddenly. He was able to get his wings back. He put one on the heaven, one on the earth. He threw him out, and we know Arba Meo Parsa usually Arba Meo is usually Guzma. Okay, but he threw him out of Eretz Yisrael. Now the question is, how is it possible that the Chacham Mikol Adam, there's nobody ever smarter than Shlomo Melech, would drop his guard like that? He knows that Ashmedai wants to kill him. He just trapped him for a few years in a chain and made his life miserable. And then what? Suddenly, just he let him go. And then he got hurt by it. What's pshat? So perhaps the pshat is that Shlomo Melech became shikr, so to speak, in Torah. He wanted pshat so badly in the pasuk that he, whatever it would take, and he just dropped his guard for that second. He was shikr for that. But another thing is that many of us we have certain addictions, whatever it is. We overcame alcoholism and drugs and schmutz, whatever it is. We overcame it, and then eventually, after a few years, you feel comfortable. You say, "Oh, I got this. I have this." And you should know that the shed is always there. He's always lurking. He's always waiting for a moment of weakness to jump right back in and pick up that cigarette again and start smoking again. That's him. He's always there. So you can't think for a second that he's your friend, that you have it conquered. Never, ever. There's a story just now. A guy in Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael was telling me about this guy. He was running the AA program in the Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael, and for 26 years he ran the AA, and just this year he fell again. He fell after 26 years being the AA. We can never let our guard down, ever. Zog the Gemara. Alayhi shatom shloimo. Now Shlomo Melech is thrown out of Eretz Yisrael. Ma Yisrael la'adam chol ha'molech. What good is it? All the work that you do, sheyamol tachas hashomesh, that you're going to work under the sun. V'zeh yechelki mikol ha'molech. And this is what I was left with, nothing. Now I'm a shnor somewhere in a different country. Mai v'zeh. What is it? V'zeh. Rabbi Shmuel machloikes chad omar makloi. All he had left with him is a stick. V'chad omar gundoy. And one of them says it's his gunda. So if you look at Rashi over here, if I can find it. Oh, Gundoi, it's like 6 lines from the top on the left side of Rashi. Levushoi, and then it says over here, Ubibiure Taharis, the Rav Hai, Roisi Koidoi, Mekudish Cheres Lishlis Mayim. All he had was a little cup of water. So I saw a beautiful pshat that all he had, what did Shlomo Melech bring to this world in terms of halacha? Anybody remember? Huh? Oh, very good. What's your name? Menachem. And you said? Natil Zedayim. Very good. Eruvin and Natil Zedayim. He says, all I have in this world is my makel, which is Eruvin, and my cup of Natil Zedayim. Okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. He's literally begging from door to door. The Ramam Pano brings this a medrash, which it's a hard. The medrash has a few issues. I have issues in terms of the history of it, but he says that when Shlomo Melech was thrown out, he came to Ammon. And he was a waiter there. And the king of Ammon said, what's going on here? Who's making this good food? And he said, oh, we have a new guy. So he came in there and they made him the head chef. And eventually the daughter of the king wanted to marry Shlomo. And the king was very upset. So we're a king. What are you going to marry a peasant? A waiter? So she threw it. But the said they did get married. And this, he says, is Nama Amoinis. And this is a medrash. Threw him and put him on a island somewhere, and Nama Amoinis was fishing. They had to eat. They had no food, and she caught a fish. And in the fish, she found the ring, and Shlomo HaMelech looked at the ring, and he said that was his ring, that was his simon, that she go back to Yerushalayim. It's like medrash. Only problem is that it says that when he married Nama Amoinis, David HaMelech saw her, and it seems like from different Gemaras that it doesn't really fit in exactly. But okay, fine. Thought I'll throw out this interesting medrash. Says the Gemara. So he's going from door to door. And everywhere he went, and he says to people, I'm Shlomo HaMelech. Who's going to believe this guy? He gets the Sanhedrin finally on Rabbanon. A Shaita doesn't keep on saying the same thing over and over. It must be true. My high. We also, Klai, we say the same thing over and over. We want Mashiach. We want the Beis HaMikdash. We say it over and over. We're not Shaita. We know it's emes. My high. Omerlei. Lebenayahu. Kaboylach. Malkul Gabe. Now, what's going on here is based on the Marsha. The Ashed he pretended he was Shlomo HaMelech. So Ashmedai throws Shlomo HaMelech out, and as the Gemara is going to say now, he became Shlomo HaMelech. So when you look at him, you see everything is fine. Faisal didn't have a problem. Shlomo HaMelech is not missing. We have a Meshugana, seems like, that's screaming, I'm Shlomo HaMelech. What are you, Shlomo HaMelech? Shlomo HaMelech is sitting on the... But let's ask B'nayo. B'nayo, he's the one person that Ashmedai was scared of, because he had the ring, and he's the one that captured him. So Ashmedai wouldn't talk to B'nayo. He'd be scared of it. So Sanhedrin decided, let's speak to B'nayo. Maybe he saw something. Did Shlomo have anything to do with you lately? No. So they went to the queens. Did Shlomo HaMelech have relations with you? Yes, no problem. Now, it's very sad, because the relations they had was with the shed, not with Shlomo HaMelech. So in Kasi, yes, he came. So they sent, Sanhedrin sent to the queens, Bitku Bekari, check out his feet. Shalchaluhu, Bemuki Kasan. He comes with his socks now. It's funny. The weird thing is that he wants to have relations with Nidas. Wants to have a relationship with his mother. Something's wrong. So Mela they chap right away that it's Ashmedai. So they gave this person that claims to be Shlomo HaMelech, they gave him the chains with Hashem's name and the ring, and when he went into the room over there, Ashmedai sees him, parach, he flew away. No, so you see that Shadim could fly. Nevertheless, Shlomo HaMelech, for the rest of his life, was always fearful of Ashmedai. Rabbi Shmuel one of them says that Shlomo HaMelech was the king, and he came back. He didn't come back completely. He was still a Hedyoid, meaning he didn't rule. Shlomo HaMelech died a king, so it doesn't mean that he was a Hedyoid, but that he was a Hedyoid to the point where he didn't rule like he used to rule on the Shadim and on the Lemsel Yonim and everything. He was a king, smaller king. All right. Zog the Gemara. Now we have an interesting daf tomorrow of the refuahs, and I have to tell you something very interesting happened to me today. Walked into the Beis Medrash this morning, and I grabbed my siddur and a chumash, and I saw the Emunah B'Tochen of the Chazon Ish. I have it in my house. Okay, maybe I'll have some time. Why not? It's a hard read. I haven't seen it in years. So I picked it up and I started reading. I got Shoichanad before the Chazans. I had a few minutes over there. Reading. So first he starts off saying how the Pila Bria, he goes through all the stuff of how you have 5 fingers and the fingers could feel hot and cold and hard and soft, and how Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us eyes that are just unbelievable and ears and then he says these interesting, you have to see it, interesting Lashonos. We make these funny sounds, which we call speech, but speech without hearing is nothing. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu created ears. Goes through the whole Bria, and then pregnancy, and then the whole thing, birth. Finally, he says, I thought it was a Pel de Gezach. He says that every machla in this world, and then he says, look at the body. You get a cut, and then the body goes and sends all these things and shuts down the blood, and then and heals you, and you break a bone and it heals. And look at all the plum of your body and how it works. And then if you have a terrible disease that the body can't cure, then you have something called medicine. And it's all within this world. Think about all the diseases. And I was thinking, remember there's the thing called AIDS. When I was a kid, wow, no, you got AIDS, it's finished. Now they know how to deal with that also. They have Baruch Hashem, a lot of cures for cancer. And even this week, Alzheimer's, they said that they're able to push it off for a few months. That everything within this world that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created in this Bria, a way to heal the craziest machlas and the craziest things. We just have to find it, he says. It's all in there. He put it in the trees, he put it in the fruit. We have every fruit has a different, this one has this kind of chemical, and this one, this thing, and it's all within there in the plants. Says the Gemara, L'doma de Reisha, what do you do if a person has a headache, according to the art scroll, caused by blood pressure? From Doma, blood in the head.
Rashi.
Huh?
Rashi.
Blood pressure. I'm saying the Lashon blood pressure. Lacey Sherbina should bring boxwood. So I have a picture of boxwood if you want. Let's see if we can get to it. What I found. This is all for illustrative purposes only. Bring some of this. Uvina. Uvina is a willow. Garava, a willow tree. V'asa Dora. Asa is hadassim. Dora is moist. V'zeisa and olives. V'chilfa. Oh, I have chilfa. Poplar. This is, in America, it's very popular to use poplar wood. It's like the cheapest wood you can get. Poplar. V'chilfe and cloves. These are cloves. The yama. V'yavla and yavla. V'shlikinu by the other thing, you cook it. V'lintel plasma kosa. So again, 300 and 400 are always guzmois. Not always, usually. Take 300 cups of this stuff. It means a lot. A high gisa the ratio poured on this side of the head. A high ratio on the other side of the head. And that's it. He goes away. Viloi. And if you don't like doing 300, it's too much for you. Lacy Vardachivra, take a white rose. Roses. Roses Mountain. The white roses mountain. The Koi Bechadora, which it only has the petals on one side, the Lishlike, and you boil it up. The little sheeting kasset. This is already not a guzma. 60 cups. Aigisa the Resha. And put it on that side of the head, Vishitin kasset. Aigisa the Resha, and Shalom Yisrael. The slichta, if you have a migraine, lays down the Golabara. Now you take that Hopi thing. You take a pure silver coin and you shecht its neck. Augisa the choyivle on that side of the migraine. But you have to be very careful from its blood, because it'll blind the person. Lislay the sifa the bava and hang it on your doorway. When you go in, you'll brush it up against it. Have a wonderful day. Yishkoyach for coming. A good tavach, or a good week, depending where you are.